Hello everybody and welcome to this Awesomenauts beta analysis with yours truly, SlowWolf! So we're into beta 3 of 2.11 now. They've managed to pump out enough of these patches that I'm starting to think that it's not so much a patch as it is a batch of rabbits. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it anyway. As per last time, it's obviously a beta, so things are apt to change, and the themes are similar. We've got lots of changes to Rocco, Lone Star, and Voltar. The rest of the things tend to be bug fixes or little changes here and there. If you want to take a look at the patch notes and follow along, then please do. The patch notes, or the link to them, should be in the description below. Let's go ahead and talk about Rocco first, since he's kind of the highlight, being the brand new character and all. For starters, they swapped the skills in the shops, that way it keeps in line with everybody else's skills, with the right click being on top and the middle click being on bottom. Increased his collision to fix his animations, yay fixes. Increased the collision size of his bullets to fit the animations better, yay fixes. SWC8 coin split arrows now have reduced damage. These things were really good before, especially if you had a sentry on your team, because Black Hole Sun could just suck them all up, and then all of a sudden, oh hey look, damage everywhere to everyone. It really did hurt. Being reduced to 50% the first time seemed to make sense, and although the description still says 50%, it is a little bit more than that. It seems like it's more like a 40% to 35% damage instead of the 50% that it was. And that's okay. Again, it's a really good upgrade in the right lineup. But now it's not like a mandatory, oh, I can pick it up any time, because I can harass with it through the droid wave ridiculously well. You still can, it's just not as ridiculous. The slow duration on precision shot on while Vengeance is on, so when you're in Vengeance, if you use your right click, the arrow that goes forever, the slow has been reduced from 5 seconds to 3.5 seconds. This is sensical. 5 seconds is a really long time. Lone Star had a 5-second slow once. It was horrible. It was terrifying. It was the worst. Although this is a weaker slow, still, it's still pretty ridiculous at 5 seconds long. So at 3.5 seconds, it means that if the Rocco does not tech into cooldown reduction on the arrow, you're not going to be perma-slowed by that precision shot, which is your choice as a Rocco, if you want to tech into that or not. I think that that's a good change. It makes it so that way you actually have a downside to not teching into cooldown reduction, in that you won't be able to always slow. You'll be able to deal more damage, or you'll be able to do other stuff, but you won't be able to constantly slow them with precision shots, so that's okay. Quick Draw Bow now has the same attack speed as rapid arrows, and the damage is reduced from 50 to 25 per stage. Now, this initially seems like just a net damage fix, like it's like, oh well, you know, it's like Froggy G, he just attacks faster in smaller chunks, or like Coco attacks faster in smaller chunks. This is a little bit different though. The attack speed is no longer 60, it is now whatever Rocco's is, and Rocco's can go quite quickly, a lot faster than 60. Since the Quick Draw Bow, which is the only damage increasing thing on Vengeance, since that now does it for every shot that you shoot, you can actually shoot out a ton of little homing 25 damage bullets. It may not seem like a lot, but it is a bit more than it was before. This is a buff to Quick Draw Bow, as far as I'm concerned, specifically in certain builds. And I think that's okay. It was pretty weak after the last beta, all things considered. It was better. I think it was a lot more in line with everything else, but it was a bit much. And then finally, Cutlet Frills now only activates on enemy Awesomenauts and will only enhance rapid arrows. So that's a pretty harsh nerf. Cutlet Frills is the one where if you are far enough from enemies, your damage gets amped. And it's like, oh, okay, sweet. So what did it do? Well, it did like 50% damage amp before, 40% damage amp to all your arrows, including your precision shot. That allowed your precision shot to deal 500 damage, practically, from a distance, which was a lot. But you know what, that was a trade-off, because you didn't always have that bonus, and especially while brawling, you definitely don't have that bonus. Now, it's pretty heavily nerfed, because it only works on your left click, and it only works on enemy Awesomenauts, not on droids, so you can't even farm with it anymore. I think that the upgrade's actually kind of useless now. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. The only time I can see it being super useful is if you decide to go damage amp into triple arrows, into that, and then that way you can just kind of sit back and do stuff. Well, you need the range increase to really make good use of it, so you know what? I'm at a loss. This upgrade seems like it's kind of lost to everything. So overall with Rocco, which is more fixes than anything else, but a slight buff to his damage through Quick Draw Bow, and a nerf to his slow duration and Cutlet Frills. Not that Cutlet Frills was necessarily going to be the meta upgrade to pick up, but it has been nerfed. Alright, let's talk about Lone Star. So Lone Star in the last patch, kind of like, okay, sure, that looks really good. I decided to actually do some testing with him. And, holy cow. There's something to be said for how they changed up his dynamite. But after testing him with him, he feels very powerful now. He feels like a lot of fun to play, which is good, because he, as of late, has not been a lot of fun to play. With this change, he is. So I'm pretty happy about that. Calo Rebooter cooldown reduction reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds, which means that since the beginning of this beta, he's had a 0.5 second buff to that ability. That's nice. As far as I can tell, I don't know why you'd need a better cooldown reduction ability on that. Like, honestly, the Calo Rebooter was already pretty frustrating to deal with, and again, you know, if you were playing certain knots. Now it's better. Okay, fantastic, awesome. And it's a competitive upgrade now, as far as I can tell. I would actually pick this up, especially early game if I decide to go heavy on push, or if they have like a Leon and an Ayla and something else, and you know what, no, you need to get away from me, Calo Rebooter. That way I've always got it. And that 0.5 second buff isn't going to be much, but it will make it look a lot more attractive. Booming Bullets price reduced from 180 to 135. Whoop-de-doo, that only works for me because no one else goes Booming Bullets. Eagle Bullets added a stage and reduced damage from 20 to 10 per stage, and then Eagle Bullets price reduced from 215 to 145 per stage. So, what this does, coupled with the 10 damage boost from your initial blaster. Alright, 10 damage boost from the initial blaster. This is actually a complete net whatever. It just means that you only get 30 damage off of the Eagle Bullets total out of the 3 stages. It is slightly cheaper. Hold on, 145 goes to 290, goes to 430 something or other. Yeah, it's around the same price as it was before for less damage. The upgrade has been nerfed. However, because of your base damage increase, what this means is that Lone Star's early game blaster is better base, but it's the same later on. This is a good thing. This is actually a really good change because Lone Star's late game DPS with his blaster was not a problem. That thing did a ton of damage already, and it's still kept in line, which is good. I was actually a little bit scared that they amped up his late game, and this does fix the problem, so I'm quite happy about that. Plus, it makes it a little bit easier to pick up the Eagle Bullets so that way you can actually get that damage bonus a little bit earlier. It's nice. Incendiary Bomb damage reduced from 125 to 120 per stage. Okay, I remember hearing 150 the last time we looked at the beta patch notes. So, okay, it's only 120 now, which means that total, with Trinamite upgrades and Incendiary Bomb, you're doing 600, 720 damage per faceplate, which is, oh wait, no, hold on. That's 720 plus another 120, which is 840. So you're doing 840 per facemite, which is still a lot. If you manage to land all 3 dynamite sticks. Now, I'm not sure if anybody else noticed this, but I tried, like, after testing with Lone Star, his dynamite feels really different. Not just in terms of, oh my god, look at the damage, but because of, holy crap, these dynamite sticks don't do what I remember them doing. Like, they don't go the distance that you expect them to anymore. They seem to be really close up, kind of mid-range things. You can't really Dyna-snipe anymore. So upgrades like bounce and explosion size, I have a feeling, are just because of the mechanical change to dynamite, or at least the feel of dynamite changing. Those upgrades are going to seem a lot more attractive now. So getting face mites are practically the only way I've been able to seriously guarantee getting all 3 dynamite sticks to hit for that full 840 damage bonus. But like, still, if even one of those things hits you, that's 200 damage plus another 240, that's 440 damage if 1 dynamite stick hits you, and those things, 1 dynamite stick can hit you fairly well, so that's still really strong. But the damage reduction of 5 is not anything, really. Honestly, Incendiary Bomb was not nerfed. It was, but it wasn't nerfed significantly. Incendiary Grenade's damage over time will not apply on the first tick anymore, bug fix. Trinamite price reduced from 135 to 150 per stage. Sorry, increased from 135 to 150 per stage. That's good, considering how strong that upgrade is now. It's a plus 990 damage upgrade every time you stage it up. It's good. Like, yeah, 150 is on par with other abilities. Transfusion Grenades replaced the percentual lifesteal with a flat lifesteal of 60. And lo, the ability died. As far as I can tell, I can't use Transfusion Grenades anymore. It feels really weak. So, I'm not exactly sold on that ability anymore. Which then brings us to the Bovinian postcard. Now shows the correct amount of cooldown reduction in the description. Oh good, a fix. Hollow Bull won't be using the jump heads anymore, which is sad because I'm sure the bull really wanted to bounce. But, talk about the Bovinian postcard. I tried to test that out as well. Holy crap, does that thing work? If you go for the fastest gun in the West build, as I like to call it, with Lone Star, you can actually do a ton of damage very quickly with the changes to Bovinian postcard. You can dynamite unbelievably often. It's impressive, and it's frightening. It's really good for taking out objectives like solar bosses, or for taking care of really big tanky people like Clunk or something like that, if you can manage to keep your mid-range distance from them. It's actually a semi-decent upgrade. It's pretty strong. It allows you to have dynamite whenever you need it. Is it necessary to have? No. If you're going for more of a sit back, relax, and push safely kind of build, you're not going to want to go Bovinian postcard because that thing will get you killed. You do need to be in blaster range to use it frequently. But if you are going for that brawling, close-up, in-your-face Lone Star, it is going to be a good upgrade to pick up. So right now, Lone Star feels really good. And I can't exactly say the same thing necessarily for a bunch of other characters. So that's a good thing. Let's talk about Voltar quickly. He's had only a couple of changes, but they're pretty big. At least the main one is. So the one that's not so big, energy drink health increased from 100 to 125 solar per stage. That's good. I mean, that price increase is like, okay, look, 100 for an ability for a heal over time. Yeah, okay, let's fix that. But his heal bot. Okay, so his heal bot now is 200 HP to start. Whatever. Heal bot will now gain extra health over the course of a match, 17 hit points every 5 minutes max for a max of 51 hit points. That's not a lot. Actually, that's really tiny. Never mind, that's not a big change. I thought, oh wow, heal bot not getting the extra health over time. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be like Weedlings. They're gonna get really annoying. No, that's 51 hit points. That's a blaster shot. That's nothing. What was I thinking? Never mind. Voltar, not a big change. Sentry. Circuits of Time decoy won't explode anymore when hitting out of combat targets. Which I think hurts Telefrag a little bit. Circuits of Time decoy will now explode when hit by an invisible enemy. Okay. I think that just harms, like, makes it so Telefrag's a little bit harder to do. It's not like the decoy explodes all the time now. It is no longer possible to trigger the Binding of Justice while teleporting on Scoop. Okay, that's a good fix. Clunk has the same thing with Explode. Good fix. Genji, fixed an idle animation. Whoop-de-doo. Now let's talk about the other small stuff. Fixed an issue in custom games. We're Wraith Dome bonus. Yeah, whatever. Fixed an issue. We're quickly adding or removing a local player. Yeah, whatever. Igyon, move the team walls behind the drill a little bit back so that the enemy team can't stand on it anymore. Okay, that's good. Actually, that's actually quite good. That means that it's a little bit easier for people to defend it, I think. Now, Sorona. Jump pads in the top middle area have been separated a bit. This makes it that way you don't have those moments where it's like, I swore I hit the bounce pad I wanted to, but instead I hit the other bounce pad and died. Yeah, it's not going to happen as often now. The two are far more clearly delineated. However, it does mean that there is a wider area to hit bounce pad with, which means you got to be careful. Don't jump too high. Don't jump too ridiculously. Otherwise, you're going to hit a bounce pad when you don't need to, and maybe leave your friends to die by accident. So that's it for this patch. Not a heck of a lot necessarily, but Lone Star got a decent number of changes. Rocco seemed to get a lot of polish changes, so I think Ronimo was thinking that Rocco is good. Almost. That he's getting to a point now where it's like he's release ready. I'm still a little skeptical about that. I've seen him be extremely powerful with the right upgrades and extremely weak against certain knots, particularly some of the more popular ones like Swiggins and Frog. Swiggins just murders him. He goes in, does his whole combo, and Rocco's got nothing. He can't stop Swiggins jumping in on him. So he really does have to rely on his teammates to kind of take the brunt of that, but if he gets singled out, Rocco's boned against the Swiggins. And then Frog R-bays everything. He R-bays precision shot, he R-bays his quick shot arrows, everything gets reflected. With one upgrade. If Frog decides to go for duration and speed on his NATO, then heaven help you, Rocco, because you got nothing on it. Like, there's nothing you can do. He just hugs you and you collapse in a quivering heap of crying and awfulness and shame. It's not really a good time. So Rocco, like he's got some issues, but I think he's pretty close to release ready, all things considered. And I'm expecting that the patch will be released relatively soon. That's it for this beta analysis video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and let me know by liking the video and commenting about it. If you didn't like it, then you know what to do as well. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later!